Our marriage is spiralling, spinning beyond our control, and we have wounded each other. Love lost, bow broken, ring thrown. First, we used silence as weapons. Then we used words, and then fists. The arms race was swift and impressive. Our hands are now empty, they twist in the dust. We have thrown everything away but our anger. And still we have to keep fighting. But there is one thing we can do together. Let's use the children as infantry. Let's use the children as spies. Let's bring them up with a director's cut, with spin and with spite and with lies. Let's use the children as weapons. Let's use the children as snares. There'll be plenty more years of reprisals if we make our unhappiness theirs. That poem by Claire Kewan may remind you of some parents that you know. Yes or no? In the workplace, in society, amongst your friends, perhaps even at home. I was talking to a mediator over lunch who used to be a family lawyer. I said, why would you give up a well-paid job? You could do both. She said, Susie, I just couldn't stand it anymore. My last 2 clients killed themselves. One hung himself, the other threw himself off Beachy Head. Was that a direct result of the toxic nature of the family law system? Absolutely. She's not the only family lawyer I've met who's left a well-paid profession because they just couldn't stand it anymore. Oh, we hear about these celebrity divorces and how toxic they can become, but we don't hear so often about the children. The NetMum survey that found 1 in 9 children self-harming because of their parents' divorce. The 60% who considered suicide. Or the parents who can't access legal aid anymore unless they claim abuse. And then they get to tick box their way out of mediation, so all communication is severed. The incentive to abuse the system is almost irresistible. The system is broken. The system is toxic. We have to find a better way forward, yes or no? Yes. How would it be if hardly anybody went to court over divorce? In fact, many of them didn't even need to use mediation. That country's called Sweden. Or if we were in court, the solicitor is representing the child, the voice of the child. I'm told that's what happens in Monaco. So what government ministry could help us to transform society and the family law system so that no child is ever from a broken home, no child from a broken family, just from an extended family? I know. How about the Ministry of Peace? Oh, only we don't have a Ministry of Peace, do we? But you know what the funny thing is? We do have a shadow minister, Fabian Hamilton. He's the shadow minister for the Ministry of Peace, a ministry that doesn't actually yet exist. I would like to invite all of you, my fellow peacemakers, to co-create a real Ministry of Peace. Because we all want world peace, don't we? Yes or no? But how are we going to create world peace if we can't even help a family in our own country change form in a peaceful way? I can hear what you're thinking. Some of you are thinking, yeah, Susie, peace, it's all very well, but God, how can you possibly have a peaceful divorce when there's been infidelity? All that pain, all that shame, all that rage. I remember how that felt. If you were with me a few years ago, you would have seen me in a place I didn't want to be, with a needle in my arm. God, I hate the smell of hospitals. Thank God Em's come to see me. Look at her with her snakeskin stiletto boots, and Em, is that a matching Versace jacket? God, how do you manage to look so glamorous? And you've got 4 small children. I mean, God, I've only got 3, and look at me. Yes, Susie, look at you. Oh my God, darling, you could have died. How could you have not noticed when your appendix burst, for God's sake, all that poison everywhere? And I know what's behind it. You're running away, and you've got to stop. And I know you don't like to talk about it, darling, but we all know it's what she did to you. She stole your man. What was her name again? Jolene. I would have had them both executed. I know he's the father of your children. I know you can't have him killed, but I have a better idea. You need a new course. Set sail on a new voyage, and I have just the right idea. It's in the papers. The world's first ever divorce fair in Austria, of all places. I can see it now. We're in the exhibition hall, and on this wall, it's all lawyers, and their banners read, "We'll help you, take 'em to the cleaners." And over there, we have the private detective. Well, of course. And their banner reads, "Catch 'em at it, colour photos included." It would be marvellous. You could even have a band. A band at a divorce fair. It'd be awful. It'd be full of all these people that are full of pain and people full of shame and people full of rage. People like me. Have you ever felt like you're dragging the past behind you and it's like a bloody great anchor and you just can't seem to set it free? Have you ever felt like that? I thought when he didn't come home that night, I thought he died. I thought he'd had an accident in the car and had died. And when I found out the truth about what had really happened, for a while I wondered if maybe it would have been better if he had a car accident and died. 10 years. 10-year relationship gone overnight. And I didn't even see it coming. The house sold for debt I didn't even know we had. I had to tell the children. Just turned 6. 4. 18 months. What was I going to do? What was I going to do with all that pain? What was I going to do with all that shame? What was I going to do with all that rage? What would you have done? What did I do? I discovered Anthony Robbins. I took off my shoes and socks and I walked barefoot over those burning hot coals in the firewalk. Cool moss, cool moss, cool moss. And I didn't burn my feet. I read the self-help books. This one has revenge in the title. Don't know why that one caught my eye. And I announced to the world that I was going to put on the UK's first ever divorce fair. And it very soon became evident that it was going to be a complete disaster. And what do you do when you know something's going to be a failure? Well, you go to the pub. So I'm drowning my sorrows in the pub, and the stale smell of beer is strangely comforting. And opposite me is my event manager, Sandra. She has a round, smiley face, and all I want to do at the moment is punch it. Susie, I know it's disappointing, but you're going to have to cancel because there's not enough time to sell enough tickets. We're going to have to cancel. Don't look at me like that. I'm very experienced. I've just never done a divorce fair before. I've only done wedding fairs. Here's my bill. Oh my God, as if it could get any worse. What's she doing here? God, she's coming over. Sandra, you're fired. Jolene. Susie, I've been watching you for about an hour. I was too scared to come over and speak to you. Oh, God, Susie, what I did back then, you and those children, God, how can you even talk to me? Why don't you just punch me? Why don't you just punch me? Did I punch her? Something else happened. To this day, I can't quite explain. Jolene, come here. It's all water under the bridge. And I meant it. Have you ever had that when something comes out of your mouth and you just think, oh my God, where did that come from? It was as if all those burning hot coals, the same way they didn't burn a hole in my feet, that somehow that pain and shame and rage hadn't completely burnt a hole in my heart. It's like I'd learned how to set free the anchor and even pull up the mainsail, but I still didn't know how to steer the ship. And everyone was telling me to abandon ship. Have you ever had that when something you really want to do, but everyone thinks you shouldn't because they feel you're going to fail? I can hear music. The song is Smiling Makes the Day Go Quicker, and the band is Tankus the Henge. Catch them if you can, they're amazing. And we are in the Old Ship Hotel in Brighton in 2010. And the room is thronging with exhibitors and press. There's the Mail, there's the Telegraph, and next to me here is a funny little man in a pinstripe suit. He's from the News of the World. Do you remember them? Right, Susie Miller, creator of the UK's first ever divorce fair. Right, where's the lawyers then? The lawyers, yes, we have lawyers, but they're not normal lawyers. They're the kind that help you stay out of court and keep things peaceful. I've never heard of those sorts of lawyers. DNA testers and private detectives. They was at the Austrian fair, weren't they? Where are they then? I didn't want any of that at my event, so what I have instead is much better. I'm afraid you've just missed them though. They've just gone off with a mirror onto the Brighton beach where they're going to do a letting go ceremony. A letting go ceremony. I've got to write something. What inspired you to create this event? Well, it's funny you should say that because there was this book I was lent a long time ago, and what caught my eye was that the word it had revenge in the title. Revenge, right, now we're getting somewhere. What was it called? Well, it was a book by Chuck Spezzano, and the title was Happiness is the Best Revenge. So, did the News of the World write up about my event? No. But the Mail did, and the Mirror and the Telegraph, the Guardian. I was on breakfast television. I went on to collaborate with the Ministry of Justice in promoting dispute resolution, and I became a divorce strategist, helping families find more peaceful ways through divorce. And on that journey, I learnt that sometimes you just have to be the safe harbour, the one who stays sane, until the other co-parent catches up. Because at this event was my children's father with his new wife supporting me. And what I learnt was that in the war of divorce and on the battlefield of family separation, always make peace your weapon of choice.